at pages 247 through 248. Number 1, Javier glues together identical small cubes to make a large cube as shown. The large cube has edges that are 1 1/4 of a foot long. What is the volume of a small cube? So I know that the length of this larger cube is 1 1/4 of a foot. So that means if I take 1 1/4 and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes, I should get the length of just one of the smaller cubes. So I'm going to keep, which before I can keep, I have to change it to an improper fraction. So 4 times 1 plus 1 would give me 5/4. Change division to multiplication and flip my second fraction, which would be 1/5. I'm going to multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 can go into 5 one time, and 5 can go into 20 4 times. So I know that the length of one of these cubes is 1/4 of a foot long. So now I'm not done. I still need to find the volume of one of the small cubes. So we know volume equals length times width times height. The length is 1/4. It's a cube, so all the sides are the same. So the width is 1/4, and the height is 1/4. So I multiply straight across. I get 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4, 64. So my answer should be 1/64 cubic feet. Now, moving on to number 2. Umi is setting up an aquarium in the shapes shown here. She fills it in partially with water. The volume of the water is 15 cubic feet. Then she adds more water to the aquarium. Now the volume of the water is 2.5 cubic feet. How much does the level of the water rise when Umi adds more water? Show your work. So this is actually 2 different problems in one. So I know that volume equals length times width times height. And I'm going to try to find the volume using 15 cubic feet. And I know that the total volume is 15, so I'm going to fill it in for the total volume. The length is 3 feet. I'm going to go ahead and put that as 3/1. The width is 2.5, so 2 times 2 plus 1. That would give me 5/2, 5/2. And the height is unknown, so I'm going to leave that as h. All right, I'm going to multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2, so I get 15/2 times h gives me 15. So now I have to do the opposite to find out what 15/2 times h is. Okay, so I have to divide 15/2, and that cancels out. I'm left with h. What I do to one side, do the other. So 15 divided by 15/2. All right, so 15/1 divided by 15/2. So I'm going to keep change flip. 15 times 2 is 30. 1 times 15 is 15. Can simplify by 15. You get 2/1, which equals 2. So I know the height of 15 cubic feet for the volume would be 2 feet. So now I need to find the volume when 22.5 is the volume. So volume equals length times width times height. I'm going to go ahead and change 22.5 to 45/2. And again, I know the length is 3/1. The width we've already changed to 5/2. And the height is still unknown. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. So that doesn't change. So again, I have to divide. What I do to one side, do to the other. Cancels out because that would equal 1. So 45/2 divided by 15/2. So again, I'm going to keep change flip. $45 times 2 would be 90. 2 times 15 is 30. Cancel out your zeros. 9 divided by 3 would be 3. So I know 22.5 cubic feet would be, the height would be 3 feet. And so how much does the level of the water rise when Umi adds more water? So the difference between 3 and 2 would be 1 foot. Moving on to number 3. In the figure, each small cube has edges that are 1/3 of a yard long. Which expression can you use to find the volume of the rectangular prism in cubic yards? So I know that this is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. So 4/3 would actually be 1 and 1/3. Okay. So this would be 2/3. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/3. Well, we know we couldn't just multiply 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 because that would just give us the volume of one of the tiny cubes. So we can go ahead and mark that one off. Now, 2 times 4 times 5 divided by 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Now, that one could work except for division. So that would be multiplying it by 3 times 3 times 3 because you would have to do the reciprocal or flip your fraction. Okay, so we know that one's not right. And then 2 times 4 times 5, you're just multiplying the numerator. And B, they are multiplying 2 times 4 times 5, which is the amount of blocks, by 1/3 each. So 1/3, 4 1/3 would make 1 1/3. 2 1/3 would make 2/3. 5 1/3 would make 5/3. So B is the correct answer. So Cody chose D as the correct answer. How might he have gotten that answer? So where we wanted to multiply 2 blocks times 1/3, 4 blocks times 1/3, and 5 blocks times 1/3, they put division instead of multiplication. And that is pages 247 and 248.